I always kind of equate PR when it's done properly. It's your preference. So you have Walmart and Target. If you pick one over the other every time, even if they're side by side, why? It's because of a feeling that brand recognition has given you. Same with like Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. People have preferences even when they have choices. And so it's trying to figure out how to build that trust and how to build that loyalty with the target audience.
Welcome to the RV Queens podcast, where adventure meets the open road. I'm your host, Charlie Grace, rolling through life 1 mile at a time, sharing stories, interviews, tips, and real talk about RV living, travel, and the freedom to chase your own version of home. Whether you're a full-time RVer, a weekend warrior, or just RV curious, you're in the right place. So buckle up, grab your favorite drink, and let's hit the road together.
Today, my special guest is Jess Walker. I am so excited to have her because I'm always excited to have really cool people, and she's really cool. But she is not just a rock star, but she's a RV queen PR rock star. So just tell the world what it is you do while you're on the road.
Well, I am a marketing and public relations consultant. So I've been in the public relations industry for over 20 years, and I just love it. And I do marketing as well, just because that goes a little bit hand in hand. PR, as I always say, is more of that organic brand reputation, what people feel when they think about your business or when they think about you. That's what that is. Marketing is more that paid side of things. But because they work together, I kind of do both. And I have my master's degree in public relations. I'm an accredited public relations professional, which is a global recognition. And then in the state of Florida, because that's where we were based before we hit the road, I'm a certified public relations counselor. So I know a couple of things about it once in a while, and I just really enjoy it. And since going out full time, I've been able to kind of launch my own business and work for myself for a change, which is new to me because I've always worked for people. And so now I've just been having more fun with clients, picking my projects, managing my time, and kind of just learning more about other industries and other things.
That's a big thing. So this is you started corporate per se. Now you're on your own.
Yeah.
What are some of the struggles you have with like having your own business? And you're not just doing your job, you're doing all these other jobs to have your own job. How does that work?
It's great. I love it. So I definitely wouldn't change it, but it definitely takes a little bit of adjustment to it because, you've always been used to people giving you direction of what they wanted and kind of stepping in. Well, once you step out on your own, you're in charge of your own schedule. You're only accountable to yourself. And you have to kind of make that schedule for yourself. And of course, when you start the business and you don't have any clients, you're really big about promoting it and getting everything out there and letting people know. But what I have found, and I think we've joked about this in other conversations, is now that I've got a few good clients, well, I've got several, all great clients. I love all my clients. But now that I've got clients and I'm doing their marketing and public relations, I've kind of gotten a little bit behind on doing my own promotion. So it's definitely a balance of trying to make sure that I'm still promoting my business in addition to my client's business, and just managing that time, knowing that nobody's going to yell at me if I'm late to log on, making sure that I'm being accountable. I'm very schedule driven. I'm very much held by a calendar. So as long as it's on my calendar, it's going to get done. Or if it's in my email, I don't delete it until it's been done. So that way it kind of keeps that in front of me. That's where I have to kind of have a reminder and have it right in front of me all the time. So it's different when you do that with corporate to here.
It is. I mean, all of a sudden you're like, I don't have to worry about a job coming my way. Something's going to be here tomorrow. I can always do something. But now that you're prospecting, you're prospecting on the road while you travel, while things are happening, because you've always got to keep that pipeline filled of upcoming clients. I mean, that's something to think about, right? How do you balance this? So let's talk about your travel. First off, you're in an RV.
Yes.
What kind of RV are you in?
When we first hit the road, we had a gas RV and we realized that we needed something with more power because out west, we like to go up into the mountains and stuff and you need a little bit. So right now we actually, for the last year and a half, 2 years now, 2 years, we've had a Tiffin Allegro Red. It's 39 foot. It's called a Class A. So, we drive it, as you can see the driver's seat behind me, and we tow our Ford Ranger behind it. We also have e-bikes so that when we're in places, if we don't have to use the truck, we prefer to do those. But we bought it used. And every year we go to Red Bay, Alabama, which is where Tiffins are made. And we get a lot of different modifications to kind of make it more homey, as we travel in it, we figure out things that we'd like to have differently, or maybe, change some stuff out. So definitely when it's your full-time home, which is what this is, you want it to be home. And so it's definitely got a lot of changes to it. But we love it. I mean, like I said, 2 years. I had to think about that. I thought, oh, not that long, but no, we've had it for over 2 years now, this particular one. And we love it.
So is this your second RV ever?
It's the second Class A RV. So we always, when our girls were little, we have two adult daughters. When they were little, we would camp. My husband did the pop-up. I did not do the pop-up or the tent camping, but I've done the pool behind trailer. Like, we've done all different types of camping with the girls growing up. Of course, once they became teens, we were in Florida. They didn't have, the desire to go away for a weekend, but they love boating. So then we switched for a while to boating. But once they got out on their own, we realized there was nothing holding us to Southwest Florida other than my corporate job at the time. And we thought, let's just hit the road, because one daughter's in Florida, one's in Washington State. And this just makes life easy to go back and forth between the two and spend significant time near them without being on top of them or in their space too much, because they still run their own lives. But we kind of just, hey, let's have dinner this week or something, because we're near them. Makes it a little bit simpler. So it works out well for that. But yeah, second Class A.
That's a big topic. I want to talk about that for a second, because I will admit, when my first one went to college and we came for Parents Weekend, all of a sudden I saw all these families with RVs. I'm like, oh, this looks like fun. I'm like, well, I need to get one of these. Then I could, sit with my family and everybody there, my own, and of course have my own bathroom. Very important things. I thought that would be really cool. And I'm trying to think, I think I got it. Yeah, I got it right after my oldest went to college, and I still had young ones at home kind of thing. I was like, this is fantastic. So yeah, it's sort of interesting how that whole why you started, how you started, and now that you're looking at it differently, like, it's your home on wheels. It's not just a recreational fun thing. You're actually living in it, and you're on the road, and you're doing a business. That's huge.
And everybody, of course, sees all the fun stuff that we post. We like to share, like, the things that we experience when we're in these different areas, so other people that we know or that just follow us can kind of learn a little bit more. But, that also kind of leads people to think, oh, they're on vacation all the time. And I'm like, no, it's just like when I lived in Southwest Florida. I didn't go to the beach every day. I'm just not showing the non-glamorous side, I guess, of it. I probably should do more of that. But yeah, it's and having your home too, like going to some of those events, or anytime we've had to travel, either one of us at different times, and stay in a hotel, it's so just baffling and stressful to us, because we're used to having everything with us all the time, no matter where we're at. So when you have to pack to leave, you're like, I don't know. Inevitably something gets left every time.
I feel your pain on that. I'm going to be having some work done on my RV pretty soon, and I have to go to a hotel for a few days. I'm like, I'm just so used to having everything at my fingertips. I'm like, what do I bring? I'm like, I don't know. And I travel with a pet. So for me, I have a pet. Do you guys have a pet?
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's, my husband's got her out and about right now. So that way she does not chime in with her opinion, because inevitably she does every time I'm on a call. She'll sleep the entire day until I need her to stay asleep. And then she's awake and barking.
Okay. So let's talk about that, because that's a really big topic. I travel with a pet. I have lots of meetings like you do. You have to have phone calls and things like that. So having a pet, and they have their own schedule, quite honestly. When they want to go out, they want to go out, or when they want food, they want food. There's no waiting. It's just now is the word. It's like it's having an angry toddler at all times. Have you found any really good things to keep them busy, or how do you deal with work and a pet? Remote work life.
Everything on the road is a challenge, not just the pet. It's making sure that, like, everything around is silent enough for all meetings necessarily, but especially when it's something like a podcast or a recorded meeting or a high client meeting. Sometimes when it's just catch-up meetings with other people and they know our circumstances, it's like, okay, if you see my husband or you hear the dog, then that is what it is. But no, we try to plan that. We'll look at my week and say, hey, do we have any meetings this week? Because my husband's retired, but he helps with the business side, like the bookkeeping and all. But he does like to check in. He's like, is it a meeting where I need to kind of be out of sight and out of mind? So we try to plan for those things in advance. I mean, it's not perfect, because if the weather's bad, then he's not going to go out for a walk with the dog. And that's the other thing too, is having humility and grace, and saying, hey, I live in an RV. It's raining. The ceiling's going to sound like a hot tin roof. my apologies, or you try to find different ways. The cell service, it's always a challenge. In fact, before this call, I was like, okay, the Verizon business is not working. I need us to get the Starlink out. I need to have a strong connection. So it's just planning and being intentional. It's not always perfect. There'll be times where Stella, our dog, will be inside and I will think I could probably get by and she'll make a thought and opinion known of hers. So, but I try to, for certain meetings, plan that in advance and try to be as intentional with things that I know need my stronger attention.
I'm going to give a couple tips right now. If you work with a pet at home and you're remote working and you're on a meeting and it's like 15, 30 minutes, here's my top 10 tips for this. You ready? Here we go. Number 1, get yourself a licking mat. There's those little silicone licking mats for pets. Get some either yogurt, pumpkin, or peanut butter. Okay. You can spread it on there and you can freeze those mats. Take that, stick it in the freezer. It lasts longer and they'll stay there for a good 15 minutes having fun with that. Even on those really big chocolate labs, like I've got a lab, they love that kind of stuff. That's one.
Yeah.
Another thing I love is getting same kind of thing, getting a bone that's hollowed out and shoving in peanut butter and freezing it. Any kind of frozen treat that, don't get them huge things, but no, enough to get them going. If you give them I was just looking here, hold on. Let me get, oh my gosh, like an elk antler. Well, this thing they're going to love it, but they're going to have a noise in the back. It's going to go crunch, 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 crunch. So you got to be careful what you're giving them. But, when you're working on the road
this is the space. You see half my house right now.
Exactly right. But that's fun. But yeah, I love being able to give some tips on that because pets are really important and they're big in our lives. And I think they help us with so many other, mental health and wellness. I think they're just, my favorite lazy coworker that I have.
Freeloader, that's not contributing anything but love and attention. And sometimes is real grumpy about doing that. But then I also admire working parents too, that are living this lifestyle that, they don't just have pets. In many cases they do, but they have small children as well. So it's just, if this lifestyle gives in any scenario, you the need to be more intentional and planning, even though it is what people see as carefree and doing certain things. You can't just live by the seat of your pants on that. You have to kind of plan no matter what you have going on. And plans change, as we all know, when you have to switch gears and make a different travel route, whether it's for repairs or family emergency or who knows.
I always say laundry is no longer just I'm going to run around the corner. It's a day or it's a morning or it's an event, things that you don't take for granted. I'm currently off the road-ish for the next couple of weeks and I'm around with some family and you go, oh my gosh, look at all this space.
I know. And
you're
water,
like,
what is all this
water
stuff?
My fingertips. How cool is that? You never know. I love this. You live by your calendar. Are there any other kind of tools that you use to sort of keep yourself organized? Are you like a sticky note person? What do you do to rule your day?
I live by to-do lists as well. And what I try to do is get a legal pad and just write out my to-do list. And I do best with writing. And, then I can highlight it and when I have it highlighted, I know that's my cross off. That means it's done. So I can still see it. I don't like to cross through it. And then over so much time, maybe I'll have a bunch of gaps and I've been skipping over things, I'll tear that and I'll just take those that are still on the list, start a new list. Because it just refreshes my energy. It refreshes my mind to circle back to that. It's not looking at an exhausted piece of paper and thinking, oh, I've got to get to that. It's oh, this is at the top of the list now. So I'm very much old school in that. I do have a calendar that's a write-in calendar too. I don't use it as much because I rely a lot more on that to-do list that I handwrite. But on my Outlook calendar, and my husband and I, we have a calendar for our travel account too. So all of my meetings are actually on 2 calendars when I schedule a meeting. One, because if I'm doing a call or a meeting or just a webinar, I put it on the couple's calendar, the travel calendar, so that he can see that I have something planned that day. But yeah, it's very much calendar driven. Even when we were stationary, we had gym memberships, for example, and he is very good about, I'm just going to go to the gym. For me, if it's not a meeting on my calendar, I'm not going to go. So I signed up for Club Pilates when we were stationary because it wasn't cheap. And you had to book the classes. And so it was on my calendar. So it's nope, that's a meeting for myself. I have to hold myself accountable. strange. You think I just tell myself to go do things to make myself better, but I'm like, no, I need the calendar to tell me to go do it.
These are just there's nothing wrong. These are just tools that help you to get through your day and help you plan. There's nothing wrong with that. I use my calendar very much in that way too. It helps me move from this to the next. It gives me those transition times. I love that. When it comes to marketing, I get, but the PR, a lot of people don't know what PR people do. Like, what do PR people, I mean, honestly, what do you guys do on the road?
So it's more about helping companies and brands and businesses understand how to reach their target audience and not have to pay necessarily for that, how to become a trusted brand or a trusted organization, so that people think of them first when they're looking for things. I always kind of equate PR when it's done properly. It's your preference. So you have Walmart and Target. If you pick one over the other every time, even if they're side by side, why? It's because of a feeling that brand recognition has given you. Same with like Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. People have preferences even when they have choices. And so it's trying to figure out how to build that trust and how to build that loyalty with the target audience. And you do that through constant relationship building. It's not just one and done. This PR is hugely about relationships, in my opinion. People have to know you. They have to trust you. They have to know that their values and beliefs align with you and your companies. And so that's also meaning being ethical, transparent where you can, and just trying to help spread the word. I tell people I always try to use a 3-pronged approach when helping a client with PR. And one is, you want to talk about the resources. So if it's an accounting firm, you have to share, accounting information, things they should know, tips, changes, law changes, things like that. I say that they need to have community because the people that work with them want to know they're supporting the community in which they live, especially if they're local. I know that gets a little more challenging with big name brands, but they all still support locally in many places on some level. And so getting that word out there, and then your team, your people, and it's getting your people in front of your audience so that they know if I call X, Y, and Z company, I'm not just talking to an AI service. I'm talking to a person and I see what that person looks like. I know a little bit about them. It makes it more relatable and human. And so PR is taking those 3 elements and trying to find ways, whether through press releases, through events, just getting that word out, finding out what publications, if it's a campground, there's a lot of RV resources to reach out to and try to form those relationships with in the beginning, and then start filtering them the news that's about that campground so that they'll start to promote it, or at least if they're looking for a story, they come to you. So it's really that I always equate it to relationships and feelings because we all have choices where we spend our dollars. And, if you have both choices right in front of you and you always go with one, there's a reason because something about that branding or that company has tapped into your emotions and your feelings.
That's really important because I always say you vote with your dollars, you vote with your wallet more than even at the polls these days, but you make choices. You make conscious choices of the more that you spend your money in this way, you promote whatever that is, whether it's a brand or that kind of thing. So that's really important. So I love that idea.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
and I've coined this term as an infotainer. I do infotainment. I do a lot of public speaking every year and I do a lot of information, but it's entertaining. And people box me and say, well, Charlie Grace is X. And you're like, that's great when they can define that. And a lot of people can define that, but then you sit back and go, but is there more? Like, am I hitting that target market? And I think and go, oh, maybe I need a PR person. Maybe I need Jess. Maybe I need someone who Maybe I need someone who can define and get it in a different realm so that people can see exactly what's going on. So I know there's a lot of businesses out there. So do you specialize in any one type of business or, when we talk about clients, what are you looking for?
Well, that's the great thing too with PR, which also helps me explain the strategy behind it. So people think, oh, PR, it's just having events or throwing things out, and hoping that it sticks. But it's actually very strategic. There's a multi-step plan with research involved, picking your audiences, figuring out what your strategies are going to be and your tactics from there, setting measurable goals. So you have to be able to know that you are achieving what you're out to do and not just hoping that, hey, I heard more people talk about it, so it must be working. There are ways to measure these things, especially when you build from the beginning. And then, a timeline. Like if you're saying I want to have X increase in my product sales in a year, well, every quarter, you're going to put a stopgap measure in there to check that and say, okay, I should be, if I want to hit my goal at this goal, this target. If you're not, figure out why, make those adjustments. Don't wait till the end of the year. And so it's a full plan. It's a communications campaign plan that helps do all of those things on the PR side. And by having that skill and having that knowledge, it allows me to work with any industry and any business. I'm not just set to, accounting or camping or anything. My background, I've worked for companies in retirement communities. I've worked for colleges. I've worked for a nonprofit, an accounting firm, an engineering firm. I've had quite the background when it comes to PR, and I've been successful in all of them because it's applying that strategic plan. No matter what you do, even if you start a new job in something you're trained for, you have to learn about that company. So I'm just coming in, learning a little bit about the company and the industry and taking my skills and applying it from that point after doing some research.
Love it. So you can take anybody. You can take from the accounting to the nursing home to the infotainer to the who knows what. I think that's fantastic. I love this. And you can do it on the road, even better.
Yes, even better.
You get to open your window and all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm looking at mountains today and I'm having my meetings. And the next day I'm open my window. Oh, I'm at the beach today. I'm having meetings. How nice is that? How cool is that? So whose idea was it to go on the road? Was it yours or your husband's?
It was actually both of us. So like I said, we camped with the girls when they were little and we just loved it. When my husband retired, he wanted to do this big road trip. And that was in 2022. So we did, as soon as he retired, we hit the road. I got my job to let me be remote for about 3 months. And we just went out west and, kid in a candy store, we crammed as much in there and we were exhausted when we got back, but we loved it. And we started meeting people on the road that were doing it full time, that had sold everything. And it was just so intriguing. And so then the next year in 23, we did that again. We did a big summer trip. We have little trips through the year in Florida and Georgia, but we really thought this might be something we could do. And both kept saying how much we loved it. And said, well, why don't we start planning towards it? And for a while, we were both checking with each other. Are you just saying you like it? Because I like it. Do you really like it? You have to get past that point. And we thought, well, let's take this next year to figure it out. I know some people can do it in a matter of months, but we're a little bit on the planning side. He, even more so than I am, likes to really get in the nitty gritty details. And so it's like, okay, well, what are we going to do for doctors? What are we going to do for mail? There's so many things you don't think about until you don't have a home base. So we spent that year selling things, getting the house ready, getting it listed, and doing all that to prepare and hard launched in April of 24 we drove away from Fort Myers and Cape Coral and, house left with us. And so it's definitely, it was both of us, but we were like, we looked at Florida. While it is a beautiful place and we love it there, it's hot and crowded. And the only thing that kept us where we were was my job at the time. And it was, great people, great organization, but just we weren't enjoying the rest of the time. It was just so stressful. And so we're like, we don't really need to be here. And so we just thought, well, let's just drive around, and we keep a list of our favorite places. So we one day we will have to settle back down, whether it's because we're tired of it or health reasons or something. So we have our list of our favorite places. That way, if we ever want to start researching more in depth, we know, and they're all tiny towns. So, but I don't think we'll get tired of this anytime soon. It would have to be something really significant to put us to be still for a bit.
One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that you've got to be flexible. We talk about living by our calendars, and it's true. And I have my to-do list. I have all these things to do. But I've also learned that things can change on a dime. So have you had things where you've had to just be flexible and whether it be a campground that didn't work out or something of that nature? What's some of your flexible stories?
Absolutely. And that is a big thing in this lifestyle. We've had many things, as many people have. We drive with our house. Our house, basically, anytime we're moving, is experiencing an earthquake. And so things just over time are going to wear down or wear out. And so repairs are a big thing. We try as hard as we can to maintain and have regular, checkups with the engine and certain things. My husband's amazing about getting that booked and on the calendar. But we've been to Red Bay 3 times this year just for different repairs and stuff that weren't planned. One of them was planned, but the other 2 were not. We love, the people there are great. They do wonderful work, but it's nothing that happened. It's just the wear and tear of life. So repairs are always a big thing. That when you plan these trips, and we do try to plan about a year in advance, just because a lot of the things we want to do and the campgrounds you want to see, you need to plan to get in as soon as they're available. And so we do plan out as much as we can in a year, knowing that we might have to switch plans. And quite honestly, we're supposed to be in Florida right now, but because of the repairs in Red Bay, we ended up adding on to our trip and rerouting. And we were supposed to come down the full eastern coast, which we didn't do. So, we've just made a lot of changes in every trip. My dad and my husband's parents, my in-laws, they've all have their own health things too. And so we always know going in that we might not make a full circle around our trip as we've planned because they might need us. And that's one of the other blessings about being in an RV on the road is that if somebody needed us for care or help with family and stuff like that, and there's a family emergency, we can go just straight to where they're at, park the RV, and be there for however long they need. We don't have to worry about trying to get to a house back in a different city to mow the yard or to take care of the pool or to do anything. We can just be there for however long we're needed to be there. And, with our kids, one of them moved this year from Gainesville to Tampa, and the other one's probably going to move next year from like Washington to Oregon. And so that's a big part of our trip planning too, is figuring out where can we be to either be with them together or like for this year, we camped in New York near a train line, our state of New York, so that my husband could get into the city and fly out to get to Gainesville to help her move. So you have to be flexible as much as you are excited about your trips and your plans. It's life. You can't guarantee anything. You just plan as much as you can and as best as you can, but know that things come up and don't let it stress you out when they do.
That's pivotal. Rolling with the punches. Got to roll with the punches on these. Well, listen, I'm so excited and so happy that you've been my guest today. I want to give you a little moment and tell people how they can find you if they're interested in your PR marketing expertise.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So my business is called Jess Lifestyle Marketing, and I have a website, which is jesslifestylemarketing.com. I have Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn for that. But then also under that umbrella, as I mentioned, my husband and I do travel a lot, and we like to share our experiences. We have another platform called The Walker's Wandering, and we do YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for that, just sharing the things that we encounter and also the brands that we like. We do a little bit of collaboration, not as much as most, because again, we have my business. So this is more just something we enjoy, but trying to share the things that we really like using on the road or that really benefit us. And so we use both of those under the business license. And it's great. And I'd love to connect with anybody, usually pretty easy to find. So just reach out. And I love talking PR and promotion and ideas. So it's always exciting for me to do that.
Really quick. Top 5. I love playing this game. It's going to be really fast and furious. Here we go. It's like called this or that. Ready? You're going to get a choice. You go. Don't tell me why. Ready? Really quick. Beaches or mountains?
Mountains.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Crock pot or Instapot?
Instapot.
That's a good one. Okay. State park or RV resort?
State park.
Last but not least, this is the really most important thing. Sour or sweet for travel day candy?
Sweet.
Sweet. Me too.
Yeah.
See, I know.
Salty too, though. Salty chips.
Have you ever had chocolate covered potato chips?
No, but that sounds delicious.
It's divine. I think everyone should try them. If you don't make them, they're fantastic. Sometimes you find them during the holidays in like different places. It's chocolate covered potato chips. Trust me, you will not go wrong.
I'm going to be looking for them now, especially with the holidays. There's chocolate covered everything coming up. So it's got to be somewhere.
Got to be somewhere. All right, Jess. Well, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Appreciate all that you're sharing with our wonderful Queens community because it's been fantastic. We are going to be doing a really cool directory. I'm excited about this. I'm calling it like the Chamber of Commerce of cool travel ladies out there who are businesses because we want to promote each other and support our business community who are out there on the road. So do me a favor and enjoy the holidays. Pretty please.
Yes. You as well.
We just appreciate you being part of the community.
Thanks for tuning into the RV Queens podcast. I hope you found inspiration for your next adventure, on or off the road. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with us on social media at RV Queens Community for behind-the-scenes stories and travel tips. Until next time, keep your wheels turning and your spirit wild. We'll see you down the road.